No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so after having a week-long break for the Black Clover manga, and just in general, I haven't been reading manga or like that over the last couple weeks as well, it was interesting and refreshing and gave me kind of a new insight, to be honest with you, when it comes to where Black Clover is at right now, in particular regarding this, I don't know if you want to call it war, or in general just this fight for survival, you could say, against the Supreme King Devil Lucifer himself. Definitely stepping away from the story for a little period of time really made my mind look at it in a different light in terms of what it feels like right now. Because I just keep it real with you. For me personally, right now, honestly, the best way I could describe it is it kind of feels like Black Clover is, in its own strange way, at the 4th grade Shinobi War portion of the story. And what I mean by that is as follows. I'm not saying that there's been anything announced that is ending or anything like that. I'm saying in terms of what happened with the pacing, in terms of how grandiose it keeps on one-upping itself one after another. Like, you know, we had the Dark Triad, then we had, you know, each of their devil. Like, we had a lot, and now we're at the King Supreme Devil with still some more to come and whatnot. But it definitely reminded me of the 4th grade Shinobi War as well in terms of pacing, because especially when it came to Black Clover, it was no secret that the manga was blazing fast, and they used that as an opportunity for the anime to have in-canon filler, I guess you would say, or, you know, extend on the anime's canon, and that's how they kind of ran through Black Clover. Eventually it kind of didn't work out because it caught up and whatnot, but that was the whole idea behind Black Clover, is write it real fast, and then the anime can add in all the extra details of how we got from point like 1A, 1B, 1C to eventually 2A and stuff like that, if that makes sense.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And with this arc in particular, especially, I want to argue maybe somewhere either before or after the Magna fight that he had against Dante. I always highlight that one. It was just such a big fight and whatnot. But it definitely feels like maybe even arguing after the end, the conclusion of the Black Clover anime in general, the manga, the pacing went from lightning fast for hundreds of chapters to not a screeching halt per se, but definitely a stark contrast to what the Black Clover manga has been up until this point. Black Clover manga has been just, you know, again, like I said, lightning fast, ridiculously fast, in a cool way, because it was actually an experience that you grew accustomed to. You knew things were going to go fast and whatnot. It was, I don't want to say to its detriment, if anything, the exact opposite. It was really something unique about Black Clover, that you knew you was going to get your story, you was going to get it quick, and it was going to look really, really cool, and Tabata's really awesome art, and his art style, and all of that good stuff. So that's always been par for the course with Black Clover anyway. But, you know, then going to where we're at right now with it, it's crazy. It's like, wow, these fights, all of these fights that we've been having this arc, which has kind of been, now that I think about it, we went from fight to fight to fight to fight. Like, it's been a straight up action-packed saga at that, ever since we invaded Spade and whatnot. But yeah, it just, again, reminds me of the 4th grade Shinobi War, how it was just a sequence of events, one thing after another, with each and every threat getting bigger and grander, but it's all supposed to be confined within, you know, this one arc of like, hey, the devil's attacked, hey, you know, Kabuto and Madara, whatever the case may be. Like, it just seems to be going that way, and that's how I felt about it, even after, you know, reading the latest chapter and whatnot. And that's not to say it in a bad way. I could argue that there's parts that Black Clover is doing better in terms of if it is indeed at that juncture of where the story was for Naruto when it comes to Black Clover. Like, there's a lot of really, really awesome stuff that is going on. I'm still real hype about a lot of things going on, like in this chapter alone, the latest one, again, I believe 325 if I'm not mistaken. Yami being back in the battlefield, just in general, really dope stuff. And getting to see a little teamwork. It was kind of even weird in this chapter to see Yami and Yuno have conversation, because that's like few and far between. How many times have they even talked throughout the entirety of the series? Like a handful of times or something. So anytime you get one of those moments, which this chapter provided, it was like, oh yeah, they do know each other exist, right? Huh? Because Lucifer destroys all of their magic, continuing to showcase just how much of a monster he is. Everything around him is getting destroyed, and Asta comes to the conclusion, okay, boom, we gotta jump into into the Devil Union again. We still have 2 minutes remaining, so we could try and shake some shit up, so to speak. And yeah, there's eventually going to need to be like some sort of upgrade on that, because after a certain point it's going to be like, oh god, Asta needs his time right now, you know what I'm saying? Especially considering it's a part of the arsenal of attacks, so to speak, of the main character. Like, you're going to probably want to get to a point where this Devil Union is not going to be a half an hour. It'll be limitless. Maybe it'll be permanent fusion of some sorts, and like Asta and Lee will become one person, but it'll still mainly be Asta or something, because obviously, you know, it's still Black Clover's Asta story. And I like how it still showcases that there's still room to grow depending on how far along we are in Black Clover in general for Asta, because while he's fighting Lucifer, he's like, while you're the most dangerous because of your anti-magic, you're easily the easiest to kill here on this battlefield. Basically saying that, like, yeah, that anti-magic will whip my ass, and you dope and all that stuff, but compared to these guys right here, dog. So it kind of puts things back into perspective in a way of like, yo, these dudes, like Yami's still a big dog, okay? Like, the big dogs are still the big dogs. Yuno and Asta have come a long way, but they still have their weaknesses. They still have ways to go in a lot of avenues, and Lucifer is saying like, yeah, you can hurt me, you have anti-magic, but if it wasn't for anti-magic, dog, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be teabagging you, yo, saying, who you think you are? I'm king, you know what I'm saying? And as Asta swings his sword and misses, eventually Yami saves him from an ass whipping. I believe he gets like kicked and all sorts of stuff, but Yami comes through to save Asta, and I'm just kind of like, oh, yo, this is dope to have Yami. But it also just, I don't know, it just feels strange seeing Yami on the battlefield. I mean, I get it, he was healed somewhat down there before he jumped into the battle by, what was it Gray? I forget what it was, but either way, he was healed up enough. But I don't know, just after him being sucked into Quillfall for so long, I was like, god damn, well, we got to get him in here some way, I guess, right? Considering the last threat required Yami, and yeah, we had, what was it, the previous, Wizard King and whatnot. Like, we had the first Wizard King on board, so yeah, we don't have that level of power anymore at this particular point. Let's get Yami in here. And quickly coming to what would be eventually the ending point of the chapter of rationalizing, everybody is beat up right now. I'm really beat up. Who do we bet on? Do we bet on Asta or Yami? Essentially, do we bet on the anti-magic or the dark magic and experience? And I probably would imagine, even though despite the end of the chapter's answer, in general, everybody would still be like, nah, dog, you wildin', go with the anti-magic thing. We saw that shit lit. Like, Yami can, be the assist, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it's shown in manga at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure Yami, in a parallel universe to ours, where Yami had his, shown in manga, he had his moments, and Asta needs to have his. Despite, like, people like myself that would love for it to end with like Yami having the big shot. Like, I love that idea, sure. Also, something to point out is the floating devil is still floating in gravity, considering the fact that Lucifer has gravity magic, and he just kind of keeps getting noticed here and there. It almost makes you wonder, like, how strong is this dude? He's not scared of Lucifer. He's able to float in this gravity magic that he's not supposed to be able to, and he's chilling, disrespecting Lucifer. It almost makes you wonder, like, could this Lucifer not even be the real Lucifer? I mean, he's technically said he's incomplete to begin with. Could this person be like a family member to Lucifer, and that's why he's disobedient? Because you would think any devil that, oh, the king is here, let me kiss his ass. The fact that he's just like nonchalant, even at this particular point where he's seeing that Lucifer is kind of having not necessarily trouble, but it's not easy per se for him, kind of makes you really question, like, could he be the final villain all along? Maybe he's related to the final Zogratis sibling or something. Eventually, Asta and Noct, once again getting stomped out by Lucifer, have to get saved by Yuno, and Yuno saves them with that star magic, basically leading to the end of the chapter, where once again Yuno is like, okay, boom, who do we go with? I'm probably going to put my money on the guy that has Vengeance's sword, which I'm always going to be a little bit biased against it because I'm not a Vengeance fan at all. So whenever he mentioned Vengeance, I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. Like, who cares about Vengeance's sword, dog? That's not, I mean, I get it, like, he got both the magic, well, but like, who cares? I mean, I don't know, I got a vendetta against Vengeance, I guess, right? Oh, and I guess also in the chapter, Lucifer was like, left or right, whoever comes at me, they're gonna die. So there's that as well. They're gonna have to come at the same exact speed and time or some shit, I don't know. But it really feels on some big end game, building up one thing after another. Curious what you guys think. What do you think about that second level Supreme Devil that's just floating there? Do you think he's gonna be the final boss? Is he a family member to Lucifer? Your thoughts on how everything's going, and does it feel like in a weird way the ending 4th grade Shinobi War of like Naruto with Black Clover right now, considering like we've been in this long arc, the pacing has changed dramatically, the threat level continues to intensify. It just kind of reminds me a little bit of it at the very least. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace and yeah, Yami and Asta. Yeah, gotta put them down. Put them down. Yeah, let's get it done. Have an awesome one.